All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. So excited to have you here today. So today we're going to be looking at just a couple of random internet stories. I feel like it's been a while since we have done that. So we got a couple of people who have been canceled. Let's decide if either of these are justified. One of them got canceled for simply laughing at a joke because it was reportedly, supposedly inappropriate. But speaking of inappropriate laughter, we're also going to talk about Kamala Harris because we must, simply. But before we get into any of that, this is your reminder to subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up. It really does help me out a ton. If you are listening on Spotify, leave a rating and a review over there. All of my other social medias are linked down below, as always. And with all of that, my name is Noelle. This is Just Say No. Let's get into it. So our first victim of cancellation today is Chappell Roan. If you do not know who this woman is, she is, I don't want to say she's an overnight sensation because she's been making music for a really long time, but her stardom has skyrocketed so fast over the last couple of months. She has become huge. Even if you don't know who she is, you've probably heard a couple of her songs. She sings songs like Hot to Go, Good Luck Babe, Pink Pony Club. These songs are everywhere right now. She's a sensation. And she's like a gay icon. She's very proudly gay. When she's on stage, she does very prominent drag style makeup. And this is her persona. This is her brand, essentially, right? And she has found herself in hot water before because she's very adversarial. I don't know if that's the right word, but she goes viral for having, I guess, hot takes. For example, she made a video not too long ago saying how disrespectful it is for people to come up to her and ask for pictures, and that she deserves to have privacy, which is absolutely true. I mean, like, everyone is entitled to privacy. I just, you know, the way that she did it, it rubbed some people the wrong way, but I will let you guys come to your own conclusions on that sort of thing. But what we're here to talk about today is the fact that she did an interview, I believe, with a magazine, essentially saying that she will not be endorsing Kamala Harris. What she said was, quote, "I have so many issues with our government in every way. There are so many things that I would want to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides." And of course, when one side is Hitler, and you say there's problems on both sides as a gay icon, how fucking dare you? How dare you? Ooh, people are so mad. To give you an idea, here are just two tweets, two of the biggest ones. "I'm tired of artists like Chappell Roan profiting off of queer and drag culture and then refusing to do the bare minimum when it comes to standing up for LGBTQ plus rights because she's probably afraid of getting canceled by a small portion of the internet or is just uneducated." Well, first of all, on that one, I don't think Chappell Roan is afraid of getting canceled. If there's ever been a celebrity who I don't necessarily think is afraid of getting canceled, I think she might be the one. She's just very bold in any stance that she takes. It's kind of balls to the wall with her. So this doesn't surprise me. But another person said, "Chappell Roan is an embarrassment to lesbians. You can't borrow from drag aesthetics and embrace your sexuality and then pretend the party that would criminalize our happiness is the same as the one who protects it." Like, this is crazy to me, this one in particular. You can't embrace your sexuality and then not endorse Kamala Harris is literally what they're saying here. And it's just, it goes to show the level of groupthink that occurs. And this happens on both the right and the left, but it's really prominent on the left. It's growing on the right, don't get me wrong, but just because someone's gay does not mean that they have to think like you. You know, I made a video the other day talking about Sunny Hostin on The View made a comment about Brittany Mahomes because we talked about it last week. I think it was maybe the week before. She liked one of Trump's posts on Instagram and then was liking comments in the comment section, you know, Trump 24, all of this stuff, making it pretty obvious that she is a Trump supporter. And Sunny Hostin had the audacity to go on The View and say that she finds it ironic that Britney is married to a person of color and that they have mixed children and she would support Donald Trump. And I find it to be quite ironic, right? That people like Sunny Hostin, who scream that everyone around them is a racist, does not see how absolutely racist it is to say that because somebody is black, they have to vote in a certain way, or that they have to believe certain things, or view the world in a certain way. And the same principle applies here. Just because somebody is gay does not mean that they have to think in the same way that you do. And that's so incredibly narrow-minded. Now, when I made a video about this on TikTok, I said, do y'all really think that Chappell Roan is a closeted Republican? Because that's what some people were saying. There were people out there who were saying, well, you know what this means? When someone says that there's problems on both sides, it just means that they're too scared to say that they support Trump. Look at anything that this woman has ever said. She is not a closeted Trump supporter. Oh my God. But of course, if you're not licking Kamala's toes, then that's not, simply it's just not good enough. And when I said that she's definitely not a closeted Republican, I was correct, because it only took about 24 hours and mounting pressure for her to come out and, quote, clarify her stance. Now, in the video, we'll play a little bit of that here.
I just woke up, and to like people just skewing it even more, endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on with like policies. Like, obviously, fuck the policies of the right, but also fuck some of the policies on the left. That's why I can't endorse. That's why I can't like put my entire name and my entire project behind one. Because there is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views. So yeah, there are huge problems on both. You know what is right and wrong, and so do I. Fuck Trump for fucking real, but fuck some of the shit that has gone down in the Democratic Party that has failed people like me and you. And more so, Palestine. And more so, every marginalized community in the world. So no, I'm not gonna settle for what the options that are in front of me. And you're not gonna make me feel bad for that. So yeah, I'm voting for fucking Kamala. But I'm not settling for what has been offered, because that's questionable. It's questionable that our actions of our government, the actions of the internet, the actions of you and me, if this is what you are not understanding, you know what? Endorsing someone, if someone is publicly endorsing a political figure, that doesn't even mean that they're gonna fucking vote for them. Because as I said in my other video, actions speak louder than words. So if you look at my statement and you're still like, she's just playing both sides, like she doesn't want to, no, you're not getting it. I'm critiquing both sides because they're both so fucked up. Voting is all we have right now in the system. And so I encourage it yet again, vote for who in your mind is the best option for what we have right now. Because it's all we can do. And I hope this makes it clear that no, I'm not picking the sides of what we have right now. Yes, one's obviously better than the other. But Jesus fucking Christ, I hope you don't settle for what we have and put your name behind someone that you don't fully trust because of their blatant actions.
So essentially, she says that she is voting for Harris, but Harris isn't good enough on, for example, Israel and Gaza, so she doesn't necessarily fully stand by her. She's obviously better than Trump because Hitler and Orange Man bad and all of that stuff. And none of this is particularly shocking or surprising whatsoever, but I just want to really focus in on the reaction from fans, because the way that people hyperfixate on who their favorite celebrity is voting for is so bizarre to me. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the episode as well. But do you think that these people like relate to you as an average American? Do you think that Chappell Roan, who is now making more money than she's ever made in her life, somebody like Taylor Swift, who is one of the richest people on the planet, relates to you? I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if you think that these people understand what it's like to live a day in the life of an average person. Because that's going to influence the way that you view politics. If you can't afford groceries, it's going to influence the types of policies that you are attracted to and the type of politicians you're attracted to. Again, like I said, we're going to get into that a little bit later, but laying the groundwork for it. Because when I say that there is not a group of people whose opinion I care less about than the celebrity class, I would rather hear from a 5-year-old. That's a more valuable opinion to me than that of a celebrity. People just go crazy for it, and I truly don't understand. But let's go ahead and move on to our next story, because this one is just... it's truly something. It's truly something. So we are going to be talking about the guys from the Shxts N Gigs podcast. The hosts of this podcast are James Duncan and Fuha Daudu. Honestly, I have no idea how to say that last name. I apologize. But they have found themselves under fire recently because they went on Andrew Schultz's podcast, Flagrant. And if you don't know Andrew Schultz, I don't know what kind of comedy he's known for publicly, like widely. But for me, I know him as being politically incorrect. That's how the kind of comedy style that I was introduced to for him. And that's kind of what I've seen from him. I don't follow him closely by any means, but when I do see clips of him, that tends to be the style. So I don't know what homeboys were expecting to come out of this situation, but politically incorrect is what they got. On this episode, Andrew made a joke about Black women. Dun, dun, dun. The cancellation flames are flaming. We already know that we have stepped in deep shit because God forbid anyone tells a joke about anyone other than a white male. But truly, the craziest part of the story is the fact that the Shxts N Gigs boys didn't even tell this joke. Literally, they are canceled for laughing at it. I am not kidding you guys. The internet is on fire because they laughed at the joke. You know, any man who's worth his salt would say, I'm sorry, you're mad at me for laughing at a joke. Okay, next, moving on. Not even going to address that. That's not worth my time. Unfortunately, that's not what happened here. No, these gentlemen put out a full apology video. And they did this because the reaction online has been so bonkers. There's been videos about microaggressions and how it's not okay to make these kinds of comments, even if they are jokes, which let me go on the record here and say, yeah, it is. That's like literally the point of a joke, isn't it? Like, I mean, isn't it the point of the joke? The fact that it's not for real, the fact that it's not serious, it's a joke. I don't think that people understand how important comedy and comedians are to a society. They play the role of pointing out the absurd in our society. And if no one's allowed to point out that something is absurd, then that absurd thing becomes normalized. And I think that we have seen this quite often. And along with pointing out the unusual, it also provides a sense of community, right? When you go to a comedy show and the comedian is properly doing their job and throwing jokes left, right, up, down, all over the place, then you're all getting hit. And you're all laughing, and you're laughing because there's a kernel of truth in the jokes that are being said, and everyone is having a joke flung their way, and it's funny, and it's bonding. You feel like you're in something together, and that's what makes a good comedian, right? Because if you go to a comedy show and all they do is talk about how the white man is so bad and make jokes like that, it's not a good comedy show. And likewise, when you go to a comedy show, and we're seeing this more and more recently, and all they do is hit on the woke that's also not very funny because it's, first of all, it's overused, but you're only hitting on one topic. And for me personally, that feels like a lack of skill almost. If you can only talk about one demographic, it kind of defeats the point of it to me, but maybe that's a personal preference. Who knows? Regardless, we got off track as usual. But as I said, they put out an apology video for laughing at this joke. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. But before we check out the apology video, let's check out the joke itself.
You guys don't know about black girlfriend effect. She just...
Wait, what is the black girlfriend effect? This is
you don't know about this?
Glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up, glows up, bro.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends, they
grow a beard
because
there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of. That's hilarious. I think the black girlfriend effect. It might be a protective instinct, bro.
As you can see, the Shxts N Gigs boys found that to be an absolute hoot and holler. I mean, they are real. There's a good belly laugh going on in there, and I do sincerely believe that they found this joke to be funny until they saw the reaction online, and at which point they're like, oh, actually it wasn't funny. You know what, I'll let them speak for themselves. Let's check out their apology video.
Right, before we get into today's episode, quick PSA, quick acknowledgement. So if you know, you know. If you don't, that's fine. But we just wanted to address something that's happening at the minute. This past weekend, there's been a couple clips going around from when we did a session on the Flagrant podcast while we were on our US tour. And yeah, there were a few jokes made that were incredibly inappropriate. One specifically pertaining to black women. And in the clip, Andrew was making a joke. I'm not even going to get into specifics. Making a frankly racist joke. And we were laughing at it. And to give, there's first of all, before we get into like specifics or anything like that, obviously there's just literally no excuse. There is no excuse.
Agreed.
And fight or flight is a real thing. Like it is, fight or flight is a real thing, and it's so not easy to say, but when you're in those situations, you look at it through a lens of like, bro, if it was me, I promise you I'll stand up, I'll kick them cameras down, I'll smack homeboy in the face, I would say this, I'll do that. But when you're in there, you're in shock.
You're in shock, and all you want to do is move on.
Bro, move on is the fucking word, bro. All you want to do is fucking move on. Just move on to the next thing. Just move on to the next thing.
And
like we had to say a few times, bro, just move on.
Just move on. So many different topics. We were like, move on. And it's not even like about pity laughs or anything, but we just wanted to
get out of that situation.
Literally get out of that situation, keep the ball rolling. And we thought it was going to be more of like a bros chat, but it ended up being something
that's like really, really hurt people that look to us for support and look to us to feel protected. And protected is the main thing that I wanted to discuss, is that it is our duty to protect you guys.
Facts.
And it is definitely not cool to be in that situation. And again, not be the ones to stand up and kick the cameras down. And we fucked it on that occasion.
We did.
It's not going to happen again. Okay,
So taking a brief pause here because my cat is joining us. Can you say hi, Salem? Oh my god, she's looking right into camera. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had heard of this podcast before, but I don't even think I had ever seen a clip of it. And so this is my first impression of these men. And the first and only word that is coming to mind is bitch. They're acting like bitch boys. I mean, this is so pathetic. It's actually pretty sad. They sit there talking about having a fight or flight response as if they're in a damn combat zone. Brothers, you are on a podcast. You are in a cushy studio on a podcast, and someone told a funny joke. Fight or flight. Be for real. Be for real. You could have stood by that. You could have said, you know what? We found it to be funny, and it was funny, but instead you apologized, you bent the knee, and now, congratulations, the mob owns you forever. Forever. Now, anytime you step slightly out of line, you're making another apology video. That's the way this goes. And also, can we talk about the fact that they said that they should have gotten up and kicked the cameras down? What? Like, that's not a sane reaction. That's not a normal reaction. Nothing about this is normal, but I think maybe it's because of the dramatics of it all. I do not believe them. And I have evidence as to why I don't believe them. But first we have to talk about Andrew's reaction, because naturally his podcast and his name is getting dragged at this point. So he puts out a video of his own.
Any listeners here that are upset at us, we just want to let you know that you're going to stay upset. Okay? What we're not going to do is sit here with our dicks tucked between our legs, apologizing on the podcast for jokes. Okay? Matter of fact, we have a new apology video that we should definitely watch. The Shxts N Gigs gentlemen came on the podcast.
I love them.
I love them.
I feel bad they're going through this.
Yeah, but actually I do want to take it seriously because they are serious guys, and I'll stop fucking laughing, dude. They're defending their community. They came on the podcast. They got a lot of flack for laughing at a joke, and I would just want to hear their apology. These are serious fucking guys, and this is a serious apology. Al. You're an asshole. Al. No, can you take it seriously?
All right, sure.
Okay. Shifty?
I haven't seen this.
Yeah, that's crazy, Shifty. That's crazy.
Shifty.
Come on, Shifty.
Shifty,
fucking racist.
I want everybody to just take this serious, and I want us to try to have a serious moment. Mm-hmm. It's a serious podcast, and I want to just listen to their heartfelt apology.
Guys,
yeah.
Right, before we get into today's episode, quick PSA, quick acknowledgement. So, if you know, you know. If you don't, that's fine. But we just wanted to address something that's happening at the minute.
Yep.
This past weekend, there's been a couple of clips going around from when we did a session on the Flagrant podcast while we were on our US tour. And yeah, there were a few jokes made that were incredibly inappropriate. One specifically pertaining to black women.
Yep.
And in the clip, Andrew was making a joke. I'm not even going to get into specifics. Frankly, like, racist joke.
Yeah.
And we were laughing at it. And to give, first of all, before we get into like specifics or anything like that, obviously there's just literally no excuse.
Pause.
There is no excuse.
Agreed.
Pause.
There's no excuse.
There is no fucking excuse. Ow. Can you pause this? Pause. No excuse for that. I just want to take in the beginning of it. There's no excuse for jokes. There is never an excuse for making jokes.
What, can we try?
I'm not going to ever make an excuse for being a comedian. There is never an excuse for making jokes. Yeah. Okay? That is a real statement said by a man. I just want that to be clear. There is never an excuse for making jokes with the boys. Go on. Let's take it serious. Look at how sad he is over on the left.
Real thing. Like, it is, yeah. Fight or flight is a real thing. And
he is. Do you see how we should go back? We should go back because he's going through it right now. Look how he practiced this. I'm gonna pick my skin on my finger.
I love you guys.
Come on. No. I need you to watch it. Look, he bite his bottom lip. Like, oh fuck, man.
There is no excuse.
Ooh.
And fight or flight is a real thing. Like, it is, yeah. Fight or flight is a real thing, and it's so not easy to say, but when you're in those situations, you look at it through a lens of like, bro, if it was me, I promise you I'll stand up, I'll kick them cameras down, I'll smack homeboy in the face, I'll say this, I'll do that. But when you're in there, you're in shock.
You're in shock, and all you want to do is move on.
Yeah, bro,
Pause.
move on is the fuck.
I've been there. I know what that's like. When you're just having fun and laughing with the boys, and you're like, I just can't wait to move on from that. Don't you know that feeling when you experience the fight or flight and then you just laugh? Does that happen to you guys when your body is just being torn with the primal urge to either fight or flight, and instead you just go, ha ha ha? Do you guys ever have that feeling?
You're not going anywhere.
But what you have done, and this is hopefully the learning moment, is that you have empowered those people that are trying to cancel you. Remember, the people trying to cancel you get off on you being canceled. You having to come out and apologize and bend to their whim and change the disposition of who you are. And it is a change, right? Because you had the ability to edit it out. You chose not to edit it out. Didn't mean anything to that. You only want to edit it, or you only want to talk about it now because of the negative reaction. If nobody reacted to it, you wouldn't go back and be like, we feel horrible and we have to protect our community and all this other bullshit you're saying. The learning lesson here is you do not apologize, because you're just going to empower these people who aren't even part of your community in the first.
So the comparison of these two types of people is fairly stark, I would say. I think that he made an excellent point when he said, don't you hate it when you're experiencing a fight or flight response, but instead you laugh? I mean, excellent point. Excellent point. Checkmate. He also talks about the fact that the producers for the Shxts N Gigs podcast reviewed this episode and asked him to remove some stuff. There were some things that got cut from the episode. This was not one of them, which proves what I was saying earlier and proves the point that Andrew's making, that they found this to be funny. They did not find this to be a problematic joke until the internet informed them that it was problematic, whatever that even means anymore. Coming away from this, these people have no backbone. These people have no backbone. The last point that I want to touch on from Andrew is the fact that they have now given the mob the power to keep canceling them, which is exactly what I said earlier. And I don't think that these people realize that they have created the inverse effect of what they were probably going for with canceling people. I would think that the goal would have been to have people taking accountability and all of this kind of stuff. But instead, what you have is people either doing this and apologizing for laughing at a joke because they're so scared and they don't actually mean it. So they're not actually like reflecting on anything. Not that there's anything to reflect on in this situation, and that's the point. Or you have people who think that cancellation is so absurd that they're never going to apologize for anything. Even if they did something that warrants an apology, they're going to say, no, we don't apologize over here. And as so often in politics, this isn't a policy, this is just a tactic, I suppose, has the opposite effect of what was intended. Go figure. And of course, they are not going to catch on to this. But we do have one more story to talk about, and that is Kamala Harris. For no other reason other than the fact that I have needed to get this rant off of my chest for a week. And this is my outlet for that. So congratulations, you win. You win a rant. So I'm not exactly sure what the structure of this is going to be, if there even is any, but I think the point, I think my main gripe here is that there are people in this country who believe Kamala Harris is smart. And they believe that because the media is doing an excellent job of manipulating the situation. Now, there has been some updates. She did an interview, I think it was CNN. This just came out today, so I haven't gotten to watch it. I've only seen very few clips, and it did not go well. So even with all the media manipulation, you know, her stupidity is seeping through the cracks. However, this race should not be as close as it is. And part of that is the fact that Trump cannot keep his mouth closed. Part of it is on Trump, but a large part of it is on the manipulation of the media. And it just drives me up a wall. So for the longest time, about 45 days actually, there was a running gag that she wouldn't do any interviews because for about 45 days after she accepted the nomination, she would not talk to the press. But now she's doing all kinds of interviews. Interviews here, town halls there, debates, all of this stuff, and they're all softball. I mean, these interviewers might as well give her a cookie at the end of it. We had the ABC debate where the moderators were so far up her ass, they were practically breathing for her. She did the interview with Walls with her, where the interviewer was literally giving her multiple choice questions. She was like, how come you changed your policy positions? Was it because of A, you found new evidence? B, your values changed? What? What? And then she did her first solo interview on an ABC affiliate in Philadelphia, like just like a local network with some no-name guy so that nobody would see it. Like, why? You are running for the president of the United States. The election is in 45 days, 40 days, 39 days. The election is so close, and you're doing a local interview. Your first solo interview as the nominee for the Democrat Party for the president of the United States is a local network. She did a town hall, though, so that's excellent. Except for the fact she did it with Oprah. Like, to further illustrate the point that I'm making, Trump did a town hall last year on CNN with Caitlin Collins, and she was very abrasive and adversarial, which is perfectly fine. Trump can handle it. And this is going to tie us back to what we were talking about earlier with the celebrity class, because Oprah started the town hall by introducing all of the celebrities that were in attendance. And this had the American people gagged. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. They were like, Meryl Streep? Meryl Streep, oh my God, she's endorsing Kamala Harris. I have to go vote. Oh my God, Meryl Streep. How stupid of a people are we? How stupid are we? Why are we so stupid? Who cares who Meryl Streep is voting for? And I honestly think that we kind of saw this play out with Taylor Swift's endorsement of Harris, because her stated endorsement centered a lot around LGBTQ rights. And the average American, I think, looked at that and said, you know, I'm budgeting for groceries right now. I have to plan when I'm able to get gas to get to work. LGBTQ problems and rights are not high on my list of concerns. But what else would you expect from the richest woman on earth? Taylor Swift has not thought about the economy or foreign affairs since probably 2007. Of course, LGBTQ rights are her biggest concern, because what else would it be? And that goes for all celebrities. These people do not relate to the average Americans. They do not share the same concerns or the same problems. They are not going to be affected by the policies that they are advocating for in the way that an average American is. And if you are making political decisions based off of what Meryl Streep or Taylor Swift has to say, I think that there should be some kind of rule, some kind of test before you can vote. And if I don't know what that test would be, and I'm being facetious here, kind of. If there was a way to weed out people who are making decisions based off of their favorite celebrity, I would like to weed them out. But there is no logistical way of doing that. I really don't know if I'm being facetious. I almost feel like that's a good idea. But anyways, I digress. Back to Kamala Harris. She did the National Association of Black Journalists interview, which Trump did a couple of months ago. I think it's safe to presume that the only reason that she did this interview is because he called her out on it. And this was the toughest interview that she has done. And the only reason it was tough is because they pushed her on Israel and Gaza because they're left-wing extremists. And that's their number one issue. But even with them pressing that issue, the rest of it was, they literally asked her something about, like, how does it feel to be the candidate of joy? You know, I think that as time goes on, more and more people are being turned off by that. I think it was like cute and fun and very vibey at the beginning, but Americans are coming back down to earth. The honeymoon phase is over for Kamala Harris because people are remembering that they can't afford groceries. People are remembering that rent is so expensive. People are realizing that their dreams of owning a house are becoming very, very unlikely. Real things are starting to kick back into the lexicon for the American people. And I don't know that Kamala Harris holds up beneath that weight. But I want to talk about one more thing, because this was the thing that sent me over the edge this week. So apparently Kamala Harris has accepted a second debate on CNN. And there's hesitancy on part of Trump's team. It's reported that he is saying it's because it's too close to the to Election Day. I wouldn't be surprised if it's simply because he just doesn't want to do another CNN interview, because why would he? He already did one. It's not his fault that his opponent was DOA. And he did the ABC debate because Kamala Harris said that she would do a debate on a different network after they did the ABC debate because it was already scheduled. So Trump did that. And look how that turned out. You think those moderators were fair? If you think that those moderators were fair, you need to go outside, because we did not watch the same debate. And so my question is why don't they do it on Fox? Or I suggested on TikTok doing an X Spaces. Trump can pick a moderator and Harris can pick a moderator. And someone did bring up the point that there's probably, I don't know that X has the bandwidth to support that much viewership, which is probably true. But we could find a neutral place. It doesn't really matter the network if we can have a split decision on moderators, because moderators make the debate. But Kamala Harris wouldn't do that, because if she did not have both of the moderators in her pocket, then she's going to get destroyed, because she has no thoughts in her head. If you were to look at every interview she's done and lay them over top of each other, like question for question, she gives the exact same answer every single time. When I watched the town hall, somebody asked her what her specific plans were for the border. And before she even started talking, I knew that her answer was going to be, as a prosecutor, I prosecuted transnational criminal organizations on the trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. So this is not a hypothetical for me. I have experience. And sure as shit, that's what came out of her mouth. When she's asked if people are better off right now than they were 4 years ago under Trump, her answer is, I grew up a middle-class child and my mom had to work so hard, and it wasn't until I was a teenager that she was finally able to buy a house. So I understand the struggles of middle-class working people. Neither of those two answers answered the question that was posed, but those are the answers that she gives. She does not have anything else. And that is my point, is she's literally like, she's like a wind-up doll. You wind her up and she says the answer. And people are really catching on to this because she put out a tweet about the middle class thing, and all of the responses are people saying, really? Like, do you not have any other words in your vernacular? Like, do you not have any, like, can somebody please teach this woman another sentence? Because it's insane, a little.
So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid. I grew up a middle-class kid.
I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
You know, we have ambitions and aspirations and dreams. The ambition, the aspiration, the dream.
I started my career as a prosecutor.
I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. Having a background as a prosecutor.
I intend to create an opportunity economy.
Developing and creating an opportunity economy. What I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy.
But at the end of the day, I guess the point is just that I have fears that the American people are that stupid. I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but when I think about 2020, that should have been a landslide for Trump. It should have been, and it was as close as it was. And Joe Biden was in the basement the whole time because the American people are that stupid. So I don't know. I feel like if Trump were to play the basement game, if he would just go into the basement of Mar-a-Lago, from now until November, we would win. I really do think so, because Kamala Harris is out there and she keeps talking, and every time she opens her mouth, she goes down a point in the polls. So if we could play that game, that'd be great. Maybe I just need to have more faith in us as a people. Sorry, this was such a downer way to end the episode. Wow, black pill. Okay, I apologize. We'll be back and happy and go lucky again next week. So remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video. I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you on Thursday for our Thursday YouTube video. All right, guys. Bye.